Hi, ladies. You're welcome. If possible, please, you can turn on your videos so we can, enjoy the experience. Hi, Habibatu. It's been a while since I saw you since the interview. Hi, Teresa. I think I saw Teresa in the
How are you doing,
VC.
Success? Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Habibatu. Welcome.
Okay. Nice meeting you again.
Same here. Always lovely seeing you all.
Thank you.
Dr. Nazai, you went to the beach today.
Yes. Today I'm at the beach.
You're welcome.
That look is so refreshing.
Yeah. That was the whole point.
But now we don't see you, we only see the beach.
I'm back. Was just preparing something, so I removed my face for a bit.
Okay, as you wait, let me pick something. Water.
Okay, yeah, sure. Hi, Finrella. It's been ages since I saw your face. I wonder why you just turned it off. It's been ages.
You're looking good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So we'll be joining in a few. But in the meantime, we can unmute and, if possible, turn on our videos and, introduce ourselves. That would be nice, so that Maureen will get to know, get to know us.
Okay.
So I'm just going to, yeah.
Yeah, so when you're doing your introduction, tell us your name, and I'll throw in a twist. You can tell us who do you love the most? Top 3 people you love the most in top 3 people world that you love the most in the world. I mean, yesterday was a Lovers' Day, so it's still very fresh in our mind.
Okay.
So Success, allow me to moderate this session so that we can move. So I'm gonna go by the boxes that I'm seeing. So you're the first person I'm seeing, Success. So tell us, of course we all know you, but just tell us your name, where you're calling in from, and who are the top 3 people you love the most.
Okay, and then I think I'll just then call the next person, and the next person calls the next person.
Absolutely.
Okay, so hi all. My name is Success, and I'm joining in from Nigeria. So top 3 people I love the most. That's really hard. That's really hard because I have a very big family. The first I would say would be my husband, and he's the first, and then I don't know if I should group my family as a whole. Okay, but let me
Fair
be
enough.
clear.
Your family?
Yeah. Because we have a very big family. Okay, yeah, my family, and the third person, yeah, and I think now I'm stuck because when I say family, the top 3 is in there. Because okay, let me say my younger sister, my immediate younger sister, and my father. So in my family, those are like the top 2 that I really, really cherish. And yeah. So I call on Teresa.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Hi. Yes, we can hear you, Teresa.
I hope there's no background noise.
It's clear.
So my name is Teresa Musila. I'm joining you guys from Nairobi, Kenya. And to answer your question, top three, I would include myself on that list. A definite yes. And the number two, I would place my nuclear family. That's my mom, my dad, my sister and brother. And third person, hmm, what's a bit third person? Uh, I really don't know.
Okay, two is good
Sorry.
enough. Two is good
Yes,
enough
yes,
because
thank
you
you.
have your nuclear family, so we'll
Yeah.
count them as well. Thank you
Okay.
for sharing, Teresa. Is it calling in from Kenya?
Yes, yes.
Which part of Kenya?
I'm in Syokimau.
Oh, awesome. That's Machakos.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Do I pick the next one? Success, or will you pick?
Teresa would pick, and then the next person.
The next person is Favors AI Note Taker. That's the name appearing on the screen.
That's a note taker, so that's AI.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're not a real person.
Okay, so it's Onesai. I hope I pronounced that right.
Onesai, over to you.
Yes, you have pronounced my name correctly. So my name is Onesai Chiguvare. I am calling in from Zimbabwe. The three people that I love the most, so God, I don't know if that would suffice as a person, but God, myself, and my family. So
Okay, great. Family comes in very fast. Coming in strong. Please pick the next person.
okay. I hope I pronounce her name well. Nuela.
Okay, I think that would be me.
Yes, Fenuela, go for it.
All right, the three people I love the most. Well, if we can add God to it, then God, my sisters, and then I'm going to put on the same level my friends, because there are some friends that, in all honesty, I cannot say I love one more than the other. So yes, that's it for me. I am from Nigeria. I am a medical doctor.
Sorry, Fenuela, I got interrupted. Say that again. You said God, who and who?
Okay, so I said I'm Finuela from Nigeria. I am a medical doctor. So God, my family, well, I'm going to put all my sisters on the same level. And then friends, because there are a number of friends that I can't quite say I love one more than the other. So yes, that's
Awesome.
it for me.
Great. Please pick the next person before you go on mute.
Okay, so I can see here Mariam Fadika.
Mariam, go for it. Mariam.
Hello. Can you get me?
Yes. Hi, Mariam. We can get you.
Hello, everyone. My name is
Hi.
Mariam Fadika, joining in from Lusaka, Zambia. Yeah. So the three people I love the most. I'll say myself, my family, and my friends.
Okay, great. Pick the next person before you go off mic. And family is coming in strong.
Charlotte.
Charlotte, where is Charlotte? Charlotte, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Charlotte. I'm a nurse and I'm calling in from Cameroon. The three persons I love the most, the first is my mom. Second, I love children in general. And third, I love my colleagues, nurses.
All right, that's a great dynamic. Pick the next person, Charlotte. Charlotte. Okay, I think I'll pick if Charlotte has gone off. Gloria. Am I still on this call?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Gloria, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Gloria, and I'm from Ghana. The three people I love most. Okay, I'll include myself, and then my friends, and my husband.
And?
My husband, I think so.
And husband. Husbands are coming in strong too. All right, Gloria, please pick the next person.
Okay. All right, so I can see Precious here.
All right, Precious, go for it.
Hi everyone, my name is Precious Mhlanga from Eswatini. I am calling from South Africa. The three people that I love the most are my kids, my mom, and my PA.
All right, interesting dynamic. Kids, mom, and PA. All right, please pick the next person to introduce themselves. I want us to start at exactly 5:20.
I'm saying Carol.
Carol, please introduce yourself. Tell us your name, where you're calling in from, and the three people you love the most.
Hi, my background is not so clear. My name is Carol, and I'm joining in from Uganda. I have accounting background as a profession. The two people that I love most, my parents, my father and mother, and my husband.
Okay, so dad, mom, husband.
Yes.
All right, cool. Carol, please pick the next person. I don't know if you joined in now, so yeah, you can pick the next person to introduce themselves.
I don't know, I hope I will not repeat, but I'm seeing someone called Teresa.
Teresa has introduced herself. Let me help you with that. I will pick Gloria. No, Gloria has also gone. Esther Achanda.
Good morning,
Esther
everyone.
Achanda.
Yes, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Achanda Esther from Uganda, a student of public health. The three people I love the most: number one, my family; two, my friends; and the third is hard. Thank you so much.
The third is who?
It's hard to mention. I've just included everyone. Friends, family, yeah.
That's good enough. Okay, so that you can move, I'll pick the next person. Esther Goma, please introduce yourself because I've seen you're on unmute. Esther Goma.
I think she
Esther.
can't hear us.
Oh, okay. Let me check if her mic is on. Let's see. Well, and her video is very on. Okay, Lovetta.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever we are. I'm Lovetta El Dolo from Liberia. I love my family. I love my friends. I love children. And I love to be in the field of agriculture. I love my hands to be on agricultural activities. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Esther. Lovetta. I'll pick the next person. Mariam Fadika. Mariam, please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and the three people you love the most.
Yeah, Mariam had gone.
Oh, Mariam had gone. Oh, yes. Mariam Fadika?
Myself.
Yeah.
Yes, I already introduced myself.
Who hasn't introduced themselves? Hababi?
I think Mercy.
And Habibatu?
Habibatu,
Yeah.
yes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. I am Habibatu Marie Munda from Sierra Leone. I am a student scholar. I'm studying medicine. Well, the three people I love most, one myself, then I love my siblings, then I love children. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Who hasn't gone? Success, do you have track? I wasn't keeping track.
Mercy hadn't gone.
Mercy, awesome. Mercy, go for it.
Good day, everyone. My name is Zulumide Mercy. I'm a student scholar studying medicine surgery in the University of Lagos here in Nigeria. And three people I love most, starting with my family, precisely my dad, and God, and myself as well. So, thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Any other last takers? Esther, can you hear us? I don't think Esther can hear us. Abigail, has Abigail? Okay, she's picking another class. You can type on the chat. Abigail, did Abigail go?
No, she just joined. Hi, Abigail. So we are introducing ourselves, where we are calling in from, our country, our names, and three people you love the most. So if you can go. Hello, Abigail. Can you hear us? Oh, I think she can.
Anyone else who hasn't gone? So that we can start. I want us to start at exactly 20 into the hour.
No, I think everyone had gone, except for Abigail and Esther. Oh. So she's in
All
the
right,
chat.
I think we can start. So my name is Maureen. My other name is Amakabane, and I'll be your facilitator for today. And I'm dialing in from Nairobi, Kenya. It's 5:20 here in Kenya. And I really love being part of communities like this. The three people I love the most is myself, my daughter, and my mom, in that order. And yeah, so there wasn't really right or wrong answer, but as we go through our lives, I would want us as women to center ourselves around the things that we do. So even as you navigate life, I want you to be the number one person in that list, because today's topic is very interesting. I'm actually curious, Success. How did you arrive at this? I had two topics, I chose one. How did you arrive at these topics?
Okay, so we had like our first kickoff meeting. We had suggestions, and so the ladies did bring for their suggestions, and we saw like this was something that was needed also from the registration forms they were submitted. So I also looked through, like, based on the work you do, I was like, okay, yeah, let me look at these two topics and see which one you are willing to take on. And that's why I was like, yeah, let me put it out to you and see which you'd like to take. But before we like start fully, I don't know if you would want to hand over to Dr. Onuzai, or I'll do that.
I think what you can do, the ones who have joined in, because it's already 5:20, let them introduce themselves on the chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that we can move on. Am I the only facilitator?
Yes, you're the facilitator for like the presentation. But Dr. Onuzai will take us through like a short breathing exercise, more like a warm-up.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes, so.
Okay, great. Is she already on the call?
Yes, she is.
Okay, Sawa. So she can, Sawa means okay. I'm so sorry. Sawa means okay. Yes, let her go for it.
Oh, okay. Over to you, Dr. Onuzai.
Okay, thank you, Success. So I'm just going to take 2 minutes. I'll try to do it in 2 minutes because I'm quite excited for the presentation by Maureen. So I just want us to take a moment to just relax and focus on our breath. So I would encourage you to sit comfortably with your feet flat on the floor, or your hands resting on your lap or your desk, and your eyes closed or softly gazing downward. So this is just a moment to pause and center yourself. So I will play some background music, which will help us then take our in and out. Can you still hear me? Even amidst the background music? Success?
Yeah, I can still hear you, Dr. Onuzai.
Okay. So I would like us to take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, counting up to 4. So, and then you hold your breath gently for 4 seconds. So you notice the stillness and calm in this moment. Now exhale slowly through your mouth, counting up to 6. Exhale slowly. Feel your body relax as any tension or stress. And then pause for a moment before taking your next breath. I want you to allow yourself to be present in this state. Okay, so we are going to do it one last time. Take a deep breath, a slow deep breath in through your nose. I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. I want you to feel your chest and belly rise as your lungs air. Then hold your breath gently for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale slowly through your mouth, counting up to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then pause for a moment and then just allow yourself to be present in this state. Okay, Success. I'm done with the breathing exercise. I hope people have relaxed. Back to you, Success.
Thank you. I almost slept off.
That was the point, to just be in a peaceful state. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Onuzai. That was really good. And
okay. Great. Thank you so much, Doctor. That was so relaxing. I am relaxed. Maybe you can remove, maybe you can use this moment. If you've not introduced yourself, please just do it on the chat. Tell us your name, tell us where you're dialing in from, and the people you love the most. So for purposes of context, Part of the reason why I chose this topic, which was, let me read it out loud. So I had two topics to choose from: presentation skills for development. I really like this space. I chose this topic over another topic because I always feel like development is a critical part of our day-to-day life, and it starts from centering yourself first. So how do you come to this place of understanding who you are, appreciating who you are, and subsequently being able to self-develop, and then you go out in the world as an advocate to champion for the things that you like, or the things that you want to see, or the change that you want to see. So it starts from self. And that is part of the reason why I included this icebreaker of asking, whom do you love the most in the world? And most of the time, as women and young girls, we have been socialized to put the needs of other people first. So it will be your children, it will be your family, it will be this. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the whole idea here is to always ensure that you also remember yourself in that list, because that is where development starts. People who go ahead to do things, big things, and even things, small things that eventually create micro steps, it's just individual effort. So then I broke it down to a subtopic of development, which is communication. Please be on mute if you're not speaking. And how I'm going to deliver the course, I have some slides, but I'd love for you to be very interactive, either on the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask a question or choose to participate. So that's the method I'm going to use to facilitate this session. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. I don't know if there's any question. Hi, Victorina, I've seen you. Let me share my screen. I hope you see it. Awesome. Some of you have met me, others have not met me. Some of you I interacted with at different phases of WMI, but I'm an entrepreneur. So basically I run businesses, I build businesses in my country, and I run them as well. I'm a community builder. So pretty much what I do is I thrive in communities, mostly digital communities. And also I'm very active in the community I live in. I do a lot of stuff to ensure that the welfare of the people in the community are met. I build sales teams. My first career is sales and marketing. So I'm very passionate, and I continue to work in that space, but mostly supporting women-led businesses to thrive. I'm a marketing expert, a storyteller instructor, a WASH champion, and a Tony Elumelu fellow. That's a nutshell, but you can also find me on LinkedIn. If you want to get to know more about me, that's where I share a lot of things that I do on LinkedIn. I use my Facebook a lot for balanced things. So Facebook, you'll get to know the social side of me, the serious side of me, and the advocate side of me. LinkedIn is mostly the professional side of me and the advocate side of me. WhatsApp status is mostly everything about me: the fun side, the mom side, the chef side, the random hilarious person side. So on my WhatsApp status, you're going to meet many personalities around me. So feel free to follow me in either of those platforms if you want to get to know me better. And then that's the other thing that I'm also just introducing. You are different persons. You are one person, but this person has different personalities depending on the audience, the time, the space, and everything. And for you to be an effective builder, or somebody who wants to communicate efficiently, or effective communication for development, it would be great for you to start leaning in to understand who you are. And like I said, I broke down this topic around development into a subtopic called communication, because a lot of the things that happen in the world are driven by humans. In fact, people always say, there's once I read a statement that says, nothing happens in a vacuum. It always takes human actors for anything to happen. So for presentation skills for development, like we said, it will require you to communicate. And for you to communicate, you must be able to lean into who you are. And I have a little exercise here, and I'd want you to reflect on it. So what is communication? It's exchanging information between people. It includes verbal and nonverbal and written communication. It includes verbal, nonverbal, written, or visual communication. And the reason I'm putting all these definitions is because at the center of a presentation is communication. At the center of development is communication. You need to be able to understand what topic are you advocating for, what do you stand for, then you're able to plug in. And like I'm saying, as young people who are either already in the space or are planning to go into the space, it will be important for us to look at our individual discovery in terms of the development things that you want to focus on. And you've seen, like, for example, in my presentation, some of the development matters I speak on includes entrepreneurship, includes water and sanitation, and matters women and girls. So those are the 3 focus areas that I've decided to really focus on. There are many other things that are happening around the world, but personally, as an individual, I want to focus on those things based on my lived experiences, the things I've seen in the world, and the observations I've made around the community. So then I've chosen to look at that, those 3 things as my personal development agenda. And I would put it out there for each of you to take 30 seconds and reflect. Please share on the chat what comes to mind before we go to the next part. So the goal for this session is to understand your individual discovery of the things that you want to develop in your personal space. It could be a personal space, professional space, workplace, community, etc. And then how then do you nurture the communication style that fits you as a person? Because not one size does not fit it all. Please drop it on the chat. What development goal do you have? Is it your personal? Is it professional? Is it community-based? What's this development agenda that you're either thinking about or you may want to consider? I'm not seeing anything on the chat, ladies. You know, sometimes the challenge of being a teacher, I have to pick. Victorina, I've seen you on the call. I know you in person. I'll put you on the spotlight. Please unmute yourself and tell us. Teresa says personal growth. Teresa, what does that mean, personal growth? Personal development. Yar says community-based development. Any other questions? Any other comments coming in? Sorry, I was I'm covering the sun. Oh, that's much better. Thank you. Charlotte says women and children. Fenella says personal development and community development, community building, personal development and climate action. Very good. All these comments are quite good. Career development. So all the things that are things that you want to develop. So the question here is, as we go through this topic, even if you've not responded, think about, individualize, customize the thought process. Think about what is the thing that I really want to develop. And then as you go through this things or these slides, then we'll be able to reflect and do internal reflections. So at the individual discovery stage, I would want one person, 1 or 2 bold people, to share a time in your life where you felt different from everybody else. And how did that make you feel? Who would like to share? And for this part, I would like the 2 bold people to unmute themselves and share. A time in your life where you felt different from everybody, and how did that make you feel? Is there anybody who would like to risk it? Anybody who'd like to risk? Take a chance. There's no wrong or right answer. I just want to work with real examples. I don't want to just bore you with slides and a PowerPoint, another PowerPoint presentation. I'd love for it to be engaging.
Maureen, I can come in and give an example.
Okay, who's this? Who's speaking? Who's speaking? Sorry.
Onesai. It's Dr. Onesai.
Okay, great, doctor. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was doing clinical work, so I'm a medical doctor. And I started off doing clinical work, and then I pivoted into business from a clinical background into a business. So that was a time when I felt different from everyone else. When I say everyone else, it means my peers, my colleagues, the ones I went through medical school with. It was different because the expectation was that I would stay within the clinical setup, then eventually specialize. But I decided to take a different path, and I felt different from everyone. It made me feel awkward, unsure of myself. I doubted myself for quite a while because I thought to myself, am I doing the right thing? Should I go back into clinical practice like everyone else? But through that, I realized that I'm my own person, like I'm an individual, and the path that I decide to take, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same path that everyone takes, but it's the path that I am comfortable with, and that gives me the most happiness. And I think I've thrived within that space. So that's my contribution.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your generosity, for sharing that. I think I've heard you say you're a clinical doctor, and a time in your life when you felt very different is when your peers were going into clinical practice and medical practice. You chose to take a different path and go into business. And that's also development. Right in there is development. And you've gone ahead to say, hey, I was very doubtful. I was very scared. It was very uncertain, but you really were able to stay on the course and champion for the thing that you want. And pretty much that's where development starts. Development starts from you saying, hey, things look like this. However, I've identified one thing that is very different from the other people. And then how then do you take this ownership of the development thing or the thing that you want to do and then chart a way forward? Thanks so much for sharing, Doctor. Anybody else who would like to risk and share?
I would like to.
Okay.
Mariam.
Who's speaking?
Mariam. Yes. Okay. So the first time was post my high school. I did a diploma in science laboratory technology. And at the time of completion, I started interning. That was at a place where I had previously done attachments from, which is an agriculture research institute. And from the time I was there during my internship, I enjoyed working on soils just in the agriculture field. And most of my friends decided to take the health route, like find themselves in the medical laboratory. Even the time recruitment was taking place, like there was an opportunity where I could have actually applied for a job and be recruited in the Ministry of Health. But then I stayed back because my passion was never to be in the health sector. And, my friends were looking at me and thinking like, see, there is an opportunity for you to get a job right there in front of you, but then you're holding back. Why wouldn't you get the job? And then when something that you like comes up, you take it up. But then I stayed back, and held on to what I felt I was more connected to and more passionate about. And that's how I found myself employed in the Ministry of Agriculture. That's under research, agriculture research. And I enjoy what I do. And I ended up also doing a degree in environment and natural resources management, which has also taken me to my next passion, which is climate action. And this is a space that I'm thriving in, and I enjoy what I'm doing. And when I look back, I'm really proud of myself that I didn't get pushed into something I didn't want to do.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing. And while you are sharing, I was just taking down some notes. And I've heard you talk about passion. I've heard you talk about you became resilient. You stayed back and you remained rooted in the things that you wanted to do. And then you went ahead and took other opportunities. And now you're in a new space called climate action. And in all that is the heart of development. So basically, while you're thinking through, and now we have at least 2 examples to work with, one person who would have taken the natural path of being a doctor, but they chose to be in business and they're saying they're thriving. Another person who was going to be in a clinical field, but they chose to be in agriculture and do research, and now they're in a totally different venture called climate action, which anchors development. And one of the things that has happened in all this, as the 2 ladies were sharing, there was some form of communication. Some was verbal, where I said no. It was internal. So you had an internal dialogue with yourself and you took action and you said, hey. And then I've heard the second person saying, as people were telling me, she remained rooted. So that was non-verbal communication that was happening. But people were saying, hey, this is an opportunity for you to get a job. But you're communicating by not taking those jobs or applying for those jobs. And then there's visual and there's written. So in everything that you do, as a person who is going to be a world advocate already in the path of advocacy, therefore development, it would be great to figure out when is the right time to apply what form of communication. How then do you communicate for development? And we said, remember we talked about development being at personal level, because the example that we've gotten from Mariam has said she was in the clinical space, but then she went into agriculture. And then she's taken steps to be able to improve herself, develop herself personally, signing up for another course, doing another bit of education, and then now she's in the climate space. In some instances, development will require for you to take action in terms of either improving yourself on a skill, taking ownership of something, and then subsequently being able to be an authority in that space. So you either take a different path, make a different decision, then improve your personal skills, either through reading, acquiring a new skill in the education space, or listening to other people. Then you start putting yourself on that path of development at individual level, and then now you start going into a theme that you want to build. I don't know if there's any questions or comments up to there. Great. So development comes with promoting communication. So you have to deploy active listening. So for active listening, it could be internal, it could be external, and it could also be around world issues. Because then for you to be in the development space, you have to be aware of the pressing issues that are happening in your personal space, pressing issues that are happening in your community, in your family, in some instances, community, your country, and the worldview. So definitely deploying active listening becomes a critical thing in terms of you understanding what development path you'll take. And it is indeed a form of communication. And then I think I just want to emphasize the reason I've really rooted development to communication is because most of the time people in the developing world, or people in development, or people who want to take action as advocates are very good with communication. So they are able to verbalize. It could be open body language, where you'll be like, if I stand up for this thing, then you're not going to find me in spaces where I promote the things that I don't stand up for, or things that minimize development, something that I want to hold dearly to development. Or it could be you will go into those spaces so that you can lobby and champion for the thing that you're standing up for, the development that you want. And then clear and concise messaging. This will require for you to lean in to the theme or know your audience. So for example, Mariam has given us an example and she said, now she's pivoted into climate action. And it means by her leaning in, it meant that she had to go and learn something new, and then now it starts becoming an authority in that space. So when you have sometimes, and I think I also saw on the chat, part of the reason why I asked on the chat, I think people being very specific, children, community building, etc. So once you get your main theme, then you have to start deploying clear and concise messaging. Sometimes, I think success when you look at, when I send you an email, or if you look at my email, especially my official email, even the signature that I have on my official email communicates the things that I stand for. Yeah. So it could be clear and concise. And also, how do you start labeling and branding yourself? When I was introducing myself, I said, I'm a WASH champion, I'm a this enthusiast, etc. If you go on my LinkedIn, you're going to find those things that I stand for, believing. So you have to start getting into clear and concise messaging in relation to the development work that you want to do or participate in. And then also there's the role of respecting diverse views, because sometimes the thing that you really, really believe in, other people might not believe in. So for example, you may find there's a big cohort of people championing for example, climate action or are in business. And there's another group of people who are thinking, what the hell is what is climate action? Why are we talking about climate action? Yet people are still dying of hunger. It doesn't mean that either of the topics one is better than the other. It just completely means one person believes in something and the other person believes the other thing, and it's totally fine. Mutual, being mindful of the nonverbal cues, because sometimes you may go into spaces or you may go into spaces and you're talking about this thing, but the nonverbal cues that are coming from this space then are not communicating, or you feel like people are not aligned, or people are not going within the direction that you want to go, which is totally fine. However, it's important for you to know so that you know what are the steps that you'll put for you to be able to advocate for the things or the development things that you want to do. Any questions? Is there any question on the chat, Success?
No, no questions so far in the chat.
Any comments?
Right.
Great. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Maureen.
Awesome, great. As you are navigating this space, it will be great for you to also constantly check in with your emotions. How do you feel about the topic you're addressing? How do you feel about the development goal that you're addressing? How do you feel? What's your gut feeling about it? And then what do the environs? And the reason I say is sometimes as advocates are people in the development space, and sometimes I'm also guilty of this, I don't check in with my emotions. Do you feel good about it? How do you, so this is why we just encourage you to really activate your emotions while you're talking about the issue, while you're writing or putting down proposals, while you're doing your day-to-day life. It is great for you to start making considerations on how then do you move forward in terms of you as the person, because at the center of development is one person who has decided to make a change in their community or the things that they believe in. What hinders communication, or what actually hinders communication in this space? Fear. So of course here, this will just be a note. It would be great for you to reflect on the moments fear has hindered your communication, or your fear has hindered you from taking action. And sometimes fear is not sometimes, most of the time, fear is the number one thing that actually stops development, be it personal development. For example, fear of the unknown. Mariam would have chosen to just stay true to her cause. But because besides her being fearful, she still took action. She was like, hey, it's afraid, it's new, but she was bold enough to take action. Social barriers. What are some of the social barriers that have hindered you from communicating? Social barriers can actually be things that can hinder you from effectively communicating. your development goal or your development agenda. Because like, for example, even when the doctor was talking, she said each of her peers were going through at this. Every person whom she graduated with was following a different pathway. But then, and I can imagine being a doctor in Africa is already so credible. Then you choose, I'm not going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a business person. So social barriers are some of them can either propel you or actually hold back in your development journey. Anger. There's positive anger. Part of the reason why I do the things that I do is because I was so angry about how women used to be treated. However, if I let this anger overtake me, then I'll not be able to communicate effectively. So anger is great, it's good, it's a good emotion. However, you need to be able to balance it out or process it. Let me not even say balance. Process it so that you're able to take action. Because some of the things that we do as people in the development world requires a lot of emotion, which is great, but then processing the emotion helps you take the positive action, move forward. Language barrier. Are you speaking or are you in a space where are you communicating your development journey or your development goal in the right manner, in the right language that the people around you or the people you're going to serve will understand or will connect with? And then information overload. Sometimes you go into spaces, for example, of late, there's a lot of, especially as advocates and development people who are going into there's a lot of information overload. Because one time we're talking about climate change, the next time it's carbon credits, the next time it is AI, the next time it is this. But the goal here is to understand and acknowledge that there could be information overload. Don't be the person who will be moving with the tide. If today people are talking about climate change, you jump at your own climate change. If people are talking about carbon credit, you jump on carbon credit. If people are talking gender mainstreaming, you jump and go on gender mainstreaming. So even as you navigate this space, I would encourage for you to sift out the information and work with information that serves you efficiently. And then industry jargon. While you're communicating, while you're putting out your proposal, or you're putting out your applications, or you're putting up the things that you want to do, are you able to break it down in a simple language that people can and avoid industry jargon in terms of what are you going to say, how are you going to frame it, etc. Is there any question? I've seen something on the chat. Let me check. Oh, okay. Elizabeth was introducing herself. And that is the end of my presentation. And I want to leave the next 7 minutes for Q&A.
Thank you so much, Maureen. That was really different. I've never seen personal development in that light, that it has a whole lot to do with how we communicate or how we are willing to communicate what we really want to do. And really that's something and I think that's the basics, because when you understand the communication that you need to put out there, how you're communicating, that would be a very good ground to start off. For instance, I want to, I'm looking at, or I'm building a community. And now the major reason why I'm doing that is because I realized that in this current dispensation, like where we are currently, if you want people to hear you, you need to, and you want what you do to be out there, like you need to know how to build communities. And you can't do that without communicating and developing your communication skills, knowing what the community needs is a whole lot. And question I have for you while we're still looking for other questions is that you mentioned something about being in touch with your emotions. And there's sometimes I would want to do something and I feel really good about this. I feel, oh, this is just what I need to do. And that feeling then comes, would I say, side by side with this feeling of being overwhelmed. I think when you talk about like I think that was the second to the last slide on the challenges or the hindrances. I feel really good, like this is something I want to do, but then I feel like there's just a lot of information. There's just a lot to do. And then there's this feeling of being overwhelmed coming in with that. And really that kind of stalls the whole process for me. Because yes, the good feeling that I know this is going to be great, and I feel, oh, this is something I need to do. But then when I see the need, it's a bit overwhelming. Like, where do I start from? So yeah, that's my question. Like, how do I navigate this, or how do a lady who's going through this like navigate?
So I'll show you a very, I'll give you a very practical tool. I'm pulling out my notebook so I can tell you. So everybody, that's a very normal feeling for builders, because we are builders. Most of the time, people who are in the development are actually builders. It's just that we don't know we are builders. And there's the first thing I'll respond to that. There's something called inspired action. So one of the things, the reason I walk around with 2, if not 3 notebooks, there is something called inspired action. And this is the thing that you will do while you are at the inspired moment. So for me, when that happens, and you can find a method that works for you. I know some people who put it on the chat, or they have their thing on their notes or whatever, on their laptop. But for me, it's a notebook because I'm semi-analog. We're the first generation, we are semi-analog. So at that point of inspired action success, I would encourage you to note it down. To your second question, where do you start? The moment you note it down, then you break it down. So if you look at my inspired actions, my notebook, I want to open for you an inspired action I had, here. So I'm working on a new concept, which of course, the moment it comes, it's really big, and I'm thinking about it. So I always just get into the habit of writing it down. Then once I write it down, at that very moment of inspired action, I write it down point form. This is how I'm thinking about it. Like, for example, here I said, we want to build, in our business model, you want to integrate a professional listing element. So I wrote it down and I said, what will that look like? I broke it down to an action plan. So this is the thing that I want to do, and then I have an action plan. And number 1, the way it's envisioned, call to application. What will the call to application look like? Design application tools, and then call for application for community trainers. So I just list them down by step by step, how it is in my mind. And then that is the moment of inspired. And then I'll put it down, I'll put it aside. And then later on, I'll go back and look. And then I'm like, do I have the capacity to do this now, given the day-to-day things? And then now I'll prioritize. I'll say, okay, I'll pack this for today, but on the next Thursday, I'll start doing the things that I'll do. And then the time when I sit down to actually think about it, I think about it end to end. So what I'm saying success is, give time, allocate time in your day to think about the things that you want to do and you're feeling inspired to do. So at the moment of inspired action, write it down broadly. And then once you write it down, take time, allocate 2 hours in your busy day to now retouch this thing and reflect on it, and then figure out how that thing will come to life. So that is what has worked for me.
Oh,
I hope I've answered your question.
Very well. Very well. And I do that, but I didn't really know that was the concept. Sometimes I'm so excited and I'm like, oh, I can't let this pass. And I take my book and I'm putting down all the things I need to do. But then what I learned now is that I have to dedicate like a separate time to like go through it and build it in a way that seems doable. Yeah, so thank you very much. I don't know if we have
and
any
the
more
other thing
questions.
is, one of the things that I realized as a person who now started really focusing a lot and being committed to the goal, I realized also, if you start just allocating time to the things that you want to do, My time for going out dancing, clubbing has really come down because my brain is constantly thinking about what time will I actually think about this thing that I really want to do. And it also helps me shape the spaces and the places I'm going to.
Actually.
Thanks, Esther, and thanks, Teresa. I see the comments. Thanks, Charlotte, and everybody else on the chat. Any other question?
No other question. I know we are like at
all right. Another
hour.
Tip, if there's no other question, another tip, find a peer, somebody you can be bouncing off these ideas, and somebody who can hold you accountable at a peer-to-peer level.
Okay. Like, is there like a requirement for who that peer would be? Because it could be a family member who's really nice. I might not push you. So is there like a requirement for who that peer could be? Someone who...
So I think it could be, you remember the list of people? It could be somebody whom you admire, or you already have an existing relationship, and just sharing this new goal with them and say, hey, I'm thinking through this, and I just want you to be my accountability partner as I navigate this journey. But it's somebody that you already have an existing relationship, and they are people who critique you positively.
Yeah.
And somebody you also have the capacity, somebody who you have the capacity to receive candid feedback from. So for me, that cannot be my partner. In some things, I'm just being honest. Yeah, it can, because I want affection from them. I want them to love me. I want to feel some type of way around them. Yeah, so there are things that so for me, I have multiple based on the goal. And sometimes it's somebody who has also made it in that space and they're willing to support you.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Maureen.
And I usually have this joke. I think the doctor was talking about her moving from the medical field into business. So in matters business, my mom, whom I love very much, will not be that person, because she comes from the generation of formal employment. So if I'm going for her during my inspired action, chances are very low, because she'll be like, what are you thinking about? Why don't you just go back to employment? And it's very well-meaning in her world. But that's, so it's always a matter of balancing. Who is this person? Will they connect with what you're saying? Will they champion for you? Yet my mom is a very big champion of me as a person. Yeah, holistically, she champions and she believes in me. She believes the things that I do. But I stopped going to her for business inspired action, because she's just like, it doesn't make sense. I think you should go back and get employed. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maureen. It's been so
You're
insightful.
Welcome.
I don't know if we have more questions. Because I know we are at 1 hour now. Okay, if we don't have more questions, or if you have questions later on, you can put that in the group chat, or maybe send to me directly. I can reach out to Maureen with your questions and concerns as well. But I really feel like, I really learned a lot from this session. And there's some things I would do, but I didn't know that there was a name to it. But now I see that this is actually something that has proven to be very effective over time. So thank you so much, Maureen. It's such a pleasure to have you. Ladies, it's such a pleasure to have every one of you. I know that we are just starting out as a community, but here we are, and I know it would only grow bigger as the days unfold. So I'll be reaching out in the group to ask if you need further support from Maureen on this, and the recording we've made available, just like the last one. Thank you for those who've registered. It's very important to register because it just lets us have your details and add you to the WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp group now, and that was even meant to be opened earlier, just that we didn't have enough registrants earlier, but now we have, I think, about 15 on the WhatsApp group or 16. So please, if you're not registered, please just click on the registration information that would be shared to everyone who attended today's meeting and register. So next session would be held third Saturday of March. That's the 15th, same time. And I look forward to seeing everyone there. We'll come in with the reminders later on. If anyone has any final words, you can, share maybe appreciation to Maureen. Anyone can go, and then Maureen, if you have any final words, you can go after that person. So final words, that's where we are now. So anyone can go, please.
Thank you this is Finuela. Thank you very much, Maureen, for the session. It was very insightful. I learned a lot, and especially the aspects where you talked about trying to also think of oneself, well, in addition to thinking about the others. Thank you, Maureen, and thank you, everyone.
You're welcome, and have a lovely Saturday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Maureen. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.